prepare to uncover the chilling depths of depravity in the most evil parents you've ever seen, the Tatiana Fusari case. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we delve into some of the most unsettling cases in criminal history. Today we're going to take a closer look at a case that sent shockwaves through the nation. The haunting story of Tatiana Fusari and Seth Welch, the parents who committed unspeakable acts against their own child. This is a story that will make you question everything you know about faith, family, and justice. So grab a comfortable seat and let's dive into today's bone-chilling true crime recap. The Unsettling Beginnings. Our story begins with a young woman named Tatiana Fusari, who grew up in New York with her single-parent father. Reports suggest she struggled with drug abuse and had minor run-ins with the law as a teen. At the age of 20, she ventured to Grand Rapids to reconnect with her estranged mother. Little did she know, this reunion would be the start of a nightmare. Tatiana was determined to turn her life around and enrolled at Grand Rapids Community College to study early childhood education. Her dream was to open a daycare center. It was during her time at college that she crossed paths with Seth Welch, a man who would soon become an integral part of her life. Tatiana described Seth as charming and engaging, but she was unaware of his dark obsession with conspiracy theories and mistrust of medical science. Raised in a conservative Christian household, Seth vehemently opposed vaccinations and publicly expressed his controversial beliefs. The farm and religious transformation. As their relationship blossomed, Tatiana and Seth moved to a farm near Cedar Springs. Initially, the farm provided for the family, but the couple eventually decided to transform their humble homestead into Black Acre Farm, a business selling fresh produce and honey. But then, something changed. In a startling Facebook video, Seth announced that they were giving up their successful business to become stewards of creation. Although the reasons for this drastic change remain unclear, it's possible they did it to attract religious customers. Or perhaps their devotion to their faith became an obsession. Seth's extreme religious views were apparent on his private Facebook page. He condemned those who didn't follow his strict interpretation of the Bible, going as far as to claim that parents who didn't discipline their kids were raising evil heathens. Troubling signs. Troubling signs were mounting as Tatiana and Seth's life on the farm took a dark turn. Their farm, once a symbol of their hope and dreams, began to mirror their spiraling beliefs. They isolated themselves from the world, rejecting medical science and vaccinations on the grounds of their extreme faith. The warning signs were there all along. Elizabeth's THC exposure was an alarming indicator, but their denial and secrecy kept Child Protective Services at bay. They believed that their faith could protect them and their children from harm, even as Mary's health deteriorated. As Mary's cries for help went unanswered, the isolation and paranoia only deepened. The couple's beliefs became a dark obsession, pushing them further away from the world's reality. The tragic discovery. The tragic discovery that would finally unveil their sinister secret came on a day etched in horror, August 2nd, 2018. It was on this dreadful day that Seth's 911 call would expose the unimaginable horrors concealed within the walls of their farm. A dead child and a father's eerie calmness on the call sent shivers down the spines of the responders. The reality was far worse than any of them could have imagined. When the first responders entered the nightmare that was Black Acre Farm, they were met with a gruesome sight. The stench of decay, flies swarming over every surface, and the lifeless body of Mary, lying on a rotting mattress, was something no one could have been prepared for. She was just 8 pounds, skin and bone, a stark contrast to her age of almost a year. She'd been left unattended for 19 agonizing hours, suffering in silence. The autopsy and arrest. An autopsy conducted on Mary's frail body revealed a horrifying tale of neglect and abuse. Her cause of death was starvation and thirst, a slow and agonizing way for any living being to meet their end. Her suffering had been going on for weeks, if not months, marked by a terrifying deterioration of her body. She bled from her nose and foamed from her mouth. Her organs were damaged, and her bones were brittle and hollow. Mary's life had been a constant battle against pain and despair. In the wake of these gruesome revelations, the authorities swiftly moved to bring Seth and Tatiana to justice. The couple's initial statements during the investigation were riddled with inconsistencies and red flags. While Tatiana claimed Mary was breastfed before her death, Seth insisted she was being well-fed but was naturally skinny. The unraveling of their horrific actions had only just begun. The trial and shocking revelations. The trial of Tatiana and Seth unveiled a series of shocking revelations, shedding light on the darkest aspects of their lives. During her testimony, Tatiana made a startling shift in her narrative, disclosing a horrifying tale of abuse at the hands of Seth. She portrayed her early days with him as a period of love and hope, only to have her dreams crushed by his betrayal. She recounted discovering his infidelity through a lewd video call with another woman, an incident that triggered violence from Seth. His aggression knew no bounds as he pushed her, cursed at her, and asserted his dominance, all under the shadow of their shared roof. The abuse didn't stop at physical violence. According to Tatiana, Seth even threatened her life with a gun, a chilling escalation of violence that left her terrified for her life. She painted a picture of a life filled with threats and isolation as Seth relentlessly controlled her, cutting her off from friends and convincing her that she was his property. Her cries for help had been silenced, and she lived in constant fear. The verdict and consequences. The courtroom drama reached its climax in November 2021 when the judge read out the verdict. Tatiana and Seth were both convicted of first-degree murder and child abuse. The weight of their actions and their failure to protect their own child was inescapable, and justice was served. As the judge announced their life sentences without the possibility of parole, the consequences of their monstrous actions became all too real. Surprisingly, Seth seemed to have believed he would never be charged, let alone convicted. As the reality of his life sentence sunk in, his face dropped to the floor. The couple pleaded not guilty to the charges, but the evidence and the horrors of their actions were undeniable. They had played with faith, isolation, and conspiracy theories to such an extent that they had allowed their innocent child to starve to death. The case of Tatiana Fusari and Seth Welch serves as a chilling reminder of how extreme beliefs, isolation from the real world, and distrust of medical science can lead to unspeakable horrors. While Mary couldn't be saved, we hope that authorities have learned enough to protect other children from suffering a similar fate. If you found this case as shocking as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories that will keep you up at night. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.